You've got 2 empty halves of coconut and you're banging them together. We have a knight who say, "Nee."
Welcome back to the Knights of Knee. I'm Jordan, and today we're going to show like a couple buildings I've been working on. I'm kind of in the middle of a tutorial here but I just wanted to get this out there so if someone wanted to make something of their own and they weren't aware of like the bigger names, somehow they found us, you could at least see what we've done, and perhaps that'll help you get some inspiration, or you can go build your own building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you here just 2 buildings that I've mostly finished assembling. I obviously haven't done the roofs yet outside of just a template design, but this is the general build. Everything is done out of the poster board material, and then it's just polystyrene, pink insulation foam, sand, and really just glue of any kind. I think I used hot glue to keep the big pieces of foam down, and then I used Elmer's or like a white glue or a PVA glue, they're all the same, to put down the sand and even some of the bricks and stuff like that. A key here is you don't have to be super specific with your measurements, but you do like test some pieces before you glue them down. Test how things lay out. I always start building buildings by making the box shape for the main building and then putting bricks wherever I want to be. I'm starting with the bottom layer, and I'll set the building up right so that all the bricks are straight and level. And when you make the box, I'm typically using poster board, 2 sizes of the same height and length, and 2 other sizes of the same height and length, and I hot glue all that together so I can get working right away. Here you see I've done the bricks like I was just talking about, and I've cut some wood support beams, and I'm just getting ready to glue them over and glue them down. And you can actually see the poster board that I'm using in this picture. It's really easy to do this stuff. It's just time. Do you have the time to do it? It's not hard work. I think anybody could do this if they wanted to. But all I've done is cut the strips. I put the 2 sides on first for one side of the building, and then I put on the long pieces. Here's an example of exactly what I'm talking about. It's just some polystyrene cut into strips. You can use an X-Acto knife. These are pretty thin. I think I bought like a 1-inch piece, and what I did is I cut it really, really thin, and then I cut the strips out of that. And then to texture all my wood, I use a wire brush. And this is the exact same technique I'm going to use on shingles as well. You see I've just glued those 2 pieces down. And that's a side. It's a side of the building. There's not much to it. It's pretty easy to do. And after this is done, what I'll go in and I'll cut a small square as a window. Just glue the window on wherever I want it to be, and then I'll frame the window, or then I'll add juck supports. This is probably the most elaborate siding I've ever done. I built a little ledge with a little door on it. But it's the same thing. You're just cutting strips, gluing them down. When you're done, you put your framing around it. When you're done with that, you can do something else. And actually the railing there, so everything was done with white glue. I think I used sticky tack for all the support structures on this side. And then what I did with the railing for that little piece that comes out is I actually hot glued the struts on the corners and then the pieces that join it in the middle and on each sides to the building, because I didn't want to have to hold it forever. I wanted to make sure wherever I put it stayed there right away. I let my hot glue get pretty hot, actually put the hot glue on the table, dipped each side really quick, and then stuck it on right away. And then I held it for maybe a second, and it took hold. That was pretty important for that. So you got to think about what glue you're using and why. When I do the bricks, it takes a couple days because I just do 3 or 4 layers, and then I let it go. This is where we come right back to, you can actually see in this picture the windows, how I've done it. Just 2 little squares, glued them down side by side, and then I went back and did the framing around them. Then the shingles, pretty much the exact same as doing the wooden supports, but you're going to cut them a little thinner. You're going to actually, as thin as you can get them really, texture them with wood on a strip of paper. You want all your strips to be pretty much the same size, and then texture them and then cut out your individual pieces. It's so much easier than if you do each one. I can't imagine what that would be like, and if you wanted to, some houses I've done, I've just taken whole strips, just like the wood supports, cut them thinner and run them all in the same direction. But I think the individual shingles, well, I know they do, at least for me, the individual shingles look a lot better. I think it just comes out nicer. It just looks, it's harder to paint later on, but it just looks so much better. It looks so much more, I'm hesitant to say realistic, because this is all for Warhammer Fantasy or my other war games. So I don't really need to pay particular attention to this is how it would really be, because it's just for me and my friends. So, but it is super nice. I do like the way that it came out. And I'm still working on getting my shingles down right. They all seem to be of varying thickness. Some of them are definitely too thick. But overall, it's not terrible. I think I still like it quite a bit. Then when you look at this, I've worked my way up the building. Let's just ignore the awnings, because it's something I've just recently started doing. This is probably the 6th or 7th building I've built. And that was definitely, I wasn't prepared to do that, and you can see one side's definitely better than the other. But the shingles, always start at the bottom and do a row, so that your next row is overlapping that row. And you just keep going up and up and up. And I do prefer to use white glue. I think it's stronger. But it gives you more work time. If you tried to do this with hot glue, you'd have to really be moving fast. Or you have to be constantly putting some hot glue down, set the glue gun down, put on a few shingles, pick it back up, back and forth the whole time. With this, I'll run 2 strips of glue across the whole thing where I want the shingles to be, put on a row, give it a second to dry, and I'll come back and do it. And then when you get to the roof line, I've seen other people do like a top cap. I prefer to do like a straight finishing bar across the top if I can. But I think on this one I tried a top cap, and it was very difficult. I think I would have rather done a straight strip, like just like a support beam that you turn on a corner, so it's like a diamond shape. But it's like you're capping for your bridge. So what I did is I ran the whole thing, shingles all the way up. I still have that gap at the top because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then I just ran, and it looks like I did do a shingle topper instead of a straight strip. I wish I'd just taken a strip and ran it straight across. And then this is it. This is all you do. You just start priming the whole thing. You can't spray paint it. I mean, you could. There are ways to do it, but it's just so much better if you take the 50/50 Mod Podge and black acrylic paint. And if you want, you could do 2 coats. Even when it's thin, I don't, because I'm going to paint over it anyway. And you just put it on everything. I don't do it on the inside, but everything else gets it. I'll turn this upside down, make sure I get in the shingle cracks. It's just, you got to make sure you cover the whole model. And what that does is the Mod Podge makes it a lot stronger, and the black paint is literally your primer layer, so you've done everything. Sometimes, if it's really thin, I'll do a second coat, but for the most part, no, I just do 1 coat of that Mod Podge and black paint, and I let it go. I hope this helps somebody. I hope everybody gets a good idea out of this, and you guys have a great day.